Nice. So it seems, guys, like we are live and recording. We've got so many participants in our chat. Guys, can you all hear us? If yes, just put plus if you can hear us in the chat and see us. Can you hear us? Okay, seems like it works. Hello. So good morning, everyone. It's so cool to have you with us. Cool, plus. Okay, we are on air and we can be seen and heard by everyone, which I really am happy about. And I'm Natalia. I'm the founder of FitTech Summit. And today we're going to have a very nice conversation with these three beautiful guys that you can also, yes, you're all awesome and beautiful, that you can all see on screen. I hope all of you, our dearest participants, have grabbed some coffee because, as we said, this is the digital breakfast. We're going to have some coffee together. Well, I'm going to have tea because, I'm Russian and Russians either drink tea or vodka. So I preferred tea today. In the meantime, I would love you, my dearest participants, to just briefly write here in this chat where you come from, like city and country. That would be cool so that we can get to learn you a little bit better. And if you have any questions below, you can see the tab which is called Ask a Question. So please make sure that you put your questions there so that I can ask them. I'm waiting for your cities and countries in the chat screen. Hamburg, very nice. Michael, that was you, right? Berlin, Munich, Rosenheim. So Germany is here. International guys are still sleeping or getting awake. So we'll have you. Belgium, very nice. Berlin, Germany again. Italy, Darmstadt is here again. Wonderful. Switzerland. So it seems, Italy again. Hello, Italian friends. Munich, Hamburg. It's so cool. Okay, so today we're gonna talk about, in this short format, FitTech Society, which is sort of a networking format where we talk about different aspects of fitness, technology, and fitness businesses. We're going to talk about how to engage sports communities now when it's sort of difficult, in terms of social distancing. We've got three beautiful friends and speakers from Germany and UK. These are the CEOs of Beat2Run and Midnight Runners. These are two running events, and HYROX, which is a fitness event series. And guys, I would just like you to introduce yourselves in a minute. Just tell us who you are and what exactly is that you do. Jody, would you like to get started with that? And Singapore, yeah, cool. Hello.
Thank you, Natalia, for having us. Thank you so much for everyone for joining us. As Natalia says, my name is Jody Braga. I'm the CEO of Midnight Runners. And we are a global running community. So we actually started 5 years ago in my hometown of London. And we now have running communities in 11 cities on 4 continents all the way around the world. First and foremost, we really are a running club, a running crew. But we also have a tech platform which we use to connect to our members and our consumers, which I'm going to talk a little bit about today. The largest numbers that we have at our runs are around 400 people, but our real kind of core offering is weekly group meetups, just like any other running club, where people kind of use the session as a chance to train, but also to socialize. And for those of you who don't know, before Midnight Runners communities were closed for COVID-19, our emphasis was really on social proximity, not social distancing. This crisis has posed sort of real challenges for us. Our unofficial motto was "Things are better together." So we've actually built social into our DNA. So we've got a lot to talk about today.
Very nice. Thank you, Jody. Michael, how about you? You're in Hamburg.
Yeah. So my name is Michael Trautmann. I'm co-founder and chairman of HYROX. HYROX is the, as far as we know, first fitness competition for everyone. So what we do is we rent big spaces, big halls where we put in a racetrack. And within the racetrack, we have 8 workouts from functional fitness movements, which are so simple that everyone can do them. But if you have to do 100 wall balls, it's it will exhaust you. And the competition goes like this: we start every 10 minutes, 20 to 50 athletes. They have to run 1K, and then they have to walk into what we call rock zone, starting with their first workout. We have judges who then control whether they do the movements right and give no reps or whatever, and give them the sign to go back to the racetrack. And after 8 kilometers and 8 workouts, they got their personal time. We started this in Hamburg almost 2.5 years ago. In the first season, the first full season, which was 2018 to 19, we were in 12 or 13 cities, and we now are in a global movement. We had events in the US. We will have events in 7 countries in our next season. The season is always from October to April, which is kind of cool for us in terms of Corona. We just had to skip 3 events. We just started a digital version, what we call HYROX Home Series.
Okay, nice. We'll learn about that in a minute. Lars, how about yourself? So who you are, what do you do?
Yeah, well, first of all, also thanks for having me. I work for B2Run. I'm managing director here, and we conceptualize, promote, and also deliver corporate business runs, usually around 5K. So just like with Jody, our events are really about, our claim is be active together. So it's really about social proximity. Last year we had about, pretty much exactly 40 events. I think it was 39 in 8 countries and close to 300,000 participants. And so our events are really for a corporate clientele. So it's really about team building. We provide a platform for companies to have a tool for corporate well-being and health promotion. And then ultimately, obviously, it's all about, having fun together and unique moments. I think the specialty maybe here, or the difference maybe here to the other colleagues a little bit, is that we work very much with a B2B clientele. However, at the end of the day, obviously, we also have consumers. So if you look at our sponsors, there is a group that's more interested in the B2B side. And then there is also partners who are interested to promoting their brand to end consumers. And B2Run has been with the Infront group for since 2014. Personally, I've been here with B2Run since then, and altogether almost 10 years with Infront.
Thank you, Lars. So we see that Moscow, Munich, and Berlin also joined us. It's going to get even more international later. So guys, my first question would be, what was your first feeling and your first thoughts when you got to learn that events are being completely canceled? Michael, you seem like you want to share something.
Fuck, shit, oh my God. And this again and again.
Okay, in a loop.
Yeah, in a loop. So, I can start because for us, it was, we had already 11 out of our 14 events. We had the plan to be in Munich and in Los Angeles, and then in Berlin for our second World Championship. And it was not the day or the moment. It was a period of weeks where we said, well, our events are not that big. So our biggest event had 3,000 participants and 12,000 spectators, but the typical event is 1,500 and 6,000 spectators. So we always said, well, there was the number in Bavaria that said, well, no event with more than 1,000 people. And we started to deconstruct the event and to think about, can we scale it down? So we have a morning part, clean the whole place up, and have an evening part, and so on. So we tried to rebuild the whole thing. As we are in one big hall with our event, we have 100% control. But over the days and weeks, then we learned, okay, no chance, and then we had to cancel the last 3 events, which was very, very sad for us. We did not cancel all 3 events at the same time. So we did it step by step, because Bavaria, Munich, and Berlin and LA are totally different stories. we had really the hope, because LA was the smallest event, that we could at least do this, but then we had to cancel. Yeah, and then we were in this game of trying to save our company and to engage with our community, and we're on a good way.
We'll get back to that later.
Yeah,
because that's a very interesting point. Jody, how about yourself? So, what was your first thought and your first action after learning about that situation?
We're maybe in a slightly different situation because we actually have a really large community in Hong Kong. So I think psychologically, we were slightly ahead of the curve with kind of understanding with what would happen here in Europe and in our chapters in North America and Australia. Actually, the irony was the weeks leading up to the lockdown, the real kind of global lockdown that we saw around the 13th of March, where things, I think, took a kind of turn everywhere in Hong Kong, because we'd seen all the people that were spending time in gyms that had been closed then switching to outdoor events where they could actually socially distance, which under the Hong Kong law at the time was approved by the government. And so I kind of want to say to my fellow CEOs here, you know, have faith, because I think actually, you know, when this does pass, you know, outdoor events and fitness, you know, away from small closed gyms, I think will be a lot more popular. But I think I've gone through the whole range of emotions like everybody. You know, Midnight Runners is something that was built by me and my friends. It's you know, something that we're very passionate about, and the people that were organized from the very beginning are still the people that run all our events. So I think we've gone through the stages of denial, acceptance,
Yeah,
and
right.
kind of, you know, looking towards how this can be beneficial for our business. So it's been a opportunity for us to kind of pause and reflect and look at the things we were doing correctly and looking at the things that we can do better, and also still being able to engage with our community through using technology, actually.
We'll get back to that in a minute. What I want to know from you, Lars, is you said you guys also started to work on a fitness app in the times where events were still okay. So how did this thing change? How did this development change as soon as you got to know that physical events are being canceled?
Yeah, I think obviously there was even an even bigger focus on that topic. And just like Jody said, I think the opportunity here is to really use this crisis to rethink your business and to challenge yourself. And luckily, already last year, we took the decision that we want to complement our offline business with a digital tool. So we're really lucky that we took that decision, and happy, obviously, that we took that decision. And I think, generally speaking, that's really important for us to have. You know, basically, we go out and we tell clients, hey, invest in the health of your employees, and that's a good thing, and that has a lot of benefits. But ultimately, we have like one piece of the puzzle for that, and so we figured we want to do more to support our clients in that cause. And that's why we came up with a solution called B2Fit. It's based on a Danish tool called 7 Peaks. And what it is really a program that looks at your lifestyle in a holistic way. So it not only sheds light on how you live sports-wise, but it looks at your nutrition, it looks at your stress level, how do you feel mentally, how do you sleep, and all those things. And ultimately, it helps people to consciously reflect on their lifestyle and to really make a conscious decision to have a better lifestyle on a comprehensive, on a broader scale. And we feel that that's just really relevant for a large group of our clients. And so, needless to say, in times of Corona, where we have a health crisis, and when there is so much focus on health and awareness on health, we believe that that's just even more so an important topic. But at the same time, I also want to make a point in saying I really think that the benefits of the businesses that we all have and the underlying market metrics are still going to be there after this crisis. I think we're all social animals. Social distancing is not something we handle very well as humans, and so I still believe on the part of B2Run, particularly when you think about team building, you just can't replicate that in the digital world. You need our events, you need those experiences, those shared experiences to build that. So I also want to make a point in saying that for us, it's we still believe in our core product, no doubt about it. And but we also believe it's important to complement that with a digital solution, and that for us is clearly B2Fit.
That's a very good point, Lars. How about we show a short video of how the app looks like? Michael, I'm gonna throw you out because we said nothing is seamless this year, so we can only show 4 screens, unfortunately. Michael is gonna be back with us in a second. And I will show the screen of how B2Fit looks like. Here you go.
In ganz Deutschland. B2Fit verfolgt einen ganzheitlichen Ansatz. Mit unserem von führenden Gesundheitsexperten entwickelten Test erfährst du dein wahres Körperalter. Die B2Fit-App hilft dir dabei, ein Bewusstsein für die positiven und negativen Gesundheitseinflüsse in deinem Leben zu entwickeln. Lass dich motivieren und motiviere dein Team durch wöchentliche Challenges und soziale Interaktion. Absolviere das 6-wöchige B2Fit-Programm. Eliminiere deine schlechten Angewohnheiten und werde eine gesündere, energiegeladenere Version von dir selbst. B2Fit ist für alle. Was ist mit dir?
Wonderful. So, Lars, could you tell us more? How about the engagement numbers, and how did the app work after people couldn't go to physical events anymore?
Yeah. By the way, I have different T-shirts too. The plan was originally to launch the app in April, and that didn't. We decided to postpone it. So our first campaign will actually be in September. And so we're currently in the sales process. So I can't really deliver any numbers yet because we're still in the process of implementing this new product into the market. Unfortunately, because of Corona and because of the sort of economic implications for a lot of companies, it was just simply not the right timing to implement the product, and we decided to postpone it to September, as I said. And ask me again after that. I will have some numbers, but unfortunately, right now, I don't.
Okay, Jody, how about yourself? You are also running on technology, right? And the events that you are doing are, hi, Michael, welcome back. The events that you are doing are really purely physical. So how does this combination work?
I think, we've actually just taken a very sort of holistic approach to this and used a number of different ways to engage. Actually, I would say that the transition from physical to virtual for us has been quite easy. And I think I kind of identified 4 reasons for that. Like, firstly, our community is very young anyway. So for young people, the actual transition to the technology was simple. It was a part of their life already. There was no learning to be done, and things kind of came naturally. Secondly, we already exist on our own tech platform, which is called Micro. And so being able to kind of cut through the noise that's on other social media platforms at the moment, like Instagram or Facebook, with Instagram being completely saturated with online workouts that are free and you don't know where they're coming from. And secondly, Facebook being quite a negative space at the moment. I think if you go on there, it's predominantly political things around COVID. Micro allows people to kind of actually connect in a social way about the fitness they want to do, away from the kind of rest of the noise, with the people that they trust. We also already had, number 3, like a very engaged online following. We'd spent significant time building our social media platforms before this, and so it wasn't a rush to get followers. People already connected with us through a number of different platforms, including Micro and then traditional kind of social platforms. But also we built remote into our DNA as a global community. Our workouts can come from 4 corners of the world. So we managed to kind of cover different time zones because as a community, we're used to working apart. we physically can't, if you're in Sydney or San Francisco, be in the same room.
Yeah, that's something I would like to understand more, because you're making your money by running the events, right? Where did money come from after the breakout of the crisis?
Well, our largest revenue source is through sponsorship. So most of our events around the world are free. We're on a mission to bring sort of free fitness and free running events to as many people as possible. Much, very similar to the model of Park Run, which I know is now growing across Germany, which started again here in the UK. So our sponsorship model, I think, like everyone, will obviously take a bit of a hit. But actually, I think sponsors and brands understand that, for the time being in this current climate, that this is the only way to actually connect with consumers. We're all in the same boat. This isn't something which is limited to, Europe or, Asia. It's a global problem. And therefore, if brands still want to connect with consumers in, and high quality ways, then they still need to partner with companies that understand tech and understand the virtual space. So it hasn't necessarily been the biggest problem so far, but obviously longer term, there are going to be questions, I think, about marketing budgets and these kind of things. But I think, I agree really with Lars. I think the products that we're offering and the kind of communities that we've built, people really, really, want to go back to being together. And actually, I think we'll see a swing after this towards social fitness events.
Let's stay with sponsors a little bit. What I would really be interested in is what are the new ways of integrating your sponsors and partners so that you can still save this revenue? What did you do exactly?
Well, I think one of our major partners is a footwear and apparel brand, Reebok, which is actually a subsidiary of Adidas Group, who are a German company as well. And our trainers are still performing in their kind of footwear and apparel on all of our online workouts and online runs, but also just being inventive. We've had to really kind of get creative and approach things in a very, very kind of new way. We decided that varied content, not sticking with the same thing. So workouts, challenges, running classes were all great, but actually also doing non-sporting events. We do a weekly thing called a campfire series, where we have a speaker from across the kind of spectrum, not just sports, from different aspects of life, giving a talk. Yesterday I was last night actually, we interviewed a British Olympic athlete. The week before, we actually interviewed a political campaigner from South Africa. So we've had a really kind of, workout for the mind kind of concept, as well as
for the mind.
Workout for the mind.
Exactly.
And then also having a real kind of a variation between local events, so community-based events in London or Berlin or Hong Kong or Sydney, where the trainers that the community see week in, week out can connect to, as well as global ones. The local events are actually the ones where you get the most engagement. The global ones are great for sort of, getting the message out that this is actually happening. And then we've also done full day events where you have a 12-hour Zoom session with people doing different things, from talking about mental health to, coping with isolation, to running tips, as well as online workouts as well.
And that's exactly where you can also integrate sponsors and partners of the events, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Got it. Michael, I want to go back to you. Jody, I will throw you out of this screen for a second. Don't be angry with me.
No, it's fine.
Michael, you started to run the HYROX Home series as a series of online events. I would love us to have a quick look of how this looked like, because I think this is a very interesting example.
Yeah, maybe I give a short introduction and then we have a look on the video.
Please.
So what we decided shortly after we had to cancel our last 3 events of season 2 was that we want to engage the community in this tough time. And we did something what was on our product roadmap, I would say 2 or 3 years ahead. And we said, well, have 50,000 people in our community, in our newsletter, and we can reach them.
50,000 people, you said?
50,000 or around 50,000 if you combine newsletter, social media, and so on. And we said, well, we want to get as many of them as possible. The goal was to get at least 5% acting in this home series. And we created this so-called HYROX home series. The idea was to give a workout out on every Sunday, and then the possibility to do the workout, to take a video of the workout, and then to count the repetitions or to the time you need for a special workout, and then to create global rankings and all this stuff. And then at the end, we wanted to create a grand final where we would try to do a streaming session on YouTube. And we decided this within a couple of days and started it, I would say, in 10 days. I mean, there's software for this on the marketplace, but to engage the community, I think was risky, but it all worked out. And maybe we have a look on this little video. Yeah.
Yeah, let's have a look at the video.
Hello, happy welcome from the HYROX arena, as you can see in my background.
As the world continues to spin,
Today we are celebrating the grand final of the HYROX home series.
stasis, time skates, I'm irate, but then I breathe in indica and chill.
And we kick off in 3, 2, 1, and go!
I wrecked from Merc since I heard shit that upset. I'm feeling stressed, but up next for success. So
Congratulations, unbelievable. You are the first champion of the HYROX home series.
know what it is and know the flow more. And when you saying fuck it and nothing.
And now we're coming to the men.
Oh, the world crazy sometimes.
3, 2, 1, go!
Let's go.
The world crazy sometimes. Oh, don't lie.
Just 3 seconds to go. 2, 1, and that's it. That's a wrap, guys. What a performance.
Nice.
Unbelievable.
Yes, I ain't one of you.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for showing your support out there. And I see you all very soon. Bye-bye.
And on the gram, I ain't one of you dudes trying to be another.
Yeah, so this was a short video. The whole show we did on YouTube was almost 2 hours. So we had the 3 best ladies, 2 from the US, 1 from Hamburg, and the best 3 men, 2 from the US and 1 from Austria. And they competed. We had judges in our studio. They had a co-judge within their home gym or whatever it was. Yeah, and it worked out. We had in the whole home series, we had 5,000 participants. So it ended up with this 6 famous athletes. And we had, I think, a couple of thousand viewers. So for us, it was a first try to engage with our community in this way. And the feedback was awesome. We already did a survey on this. And we are already planning a second home series. But I can tell you, we all can't wait to see the people in our arena again, and that's what we get as a feedback. It's nice to have the home series, but we want to compete in the big arena. Yeah.
How many people did you say took part in the home series?
5,000. A little bit more than 5,000. Yeah.
From which countries?
Very cool.
Geography.
51 countries. I think Germany was first, then the US, Austria, and I think the most funny thing was that Senegal was on position 4. So I think we have a gym partner in Senegal already. Yeah, it was amazing for us. And our community, they called themselves HYROX family. So we use the hashtag as well now. And yeah, it's a very, very strong community. I mean, we are the new kid on the block. So we are doing this since 3 years as a company and since 2.5 years as an event. Yeah, we're very proud to have so many nice people all around the world. And as I mentioned, our plan is to come up with 30 events in 7 countries between October and April 2020, 2021. Yeah.
Physically or online or both?
Physically. That's the plan.
Mm-hmm. And Michael, what I would also be interested in, I think that's also quite a piece of technology to bring these things together. So like to count repetitions, to do the live streaming and so on and so on. What were the most important learnings from you from the technological perspective?
Everything is there, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So the counting system or the whole platform we used for this home series was there. I don't know exactly the name, but I think it's used by CrossFit as well and other event series. Streaming is easy if you have the right partners. So the technology is there. You just have to find the right partners. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. I think the biggest learning is that even with a big community of 50,000 people, it's tough to activate the people. So marketing is I think much more important and communication than the technology. What we learned is that it's nice for the beginning to do this without any stuff like weights or so. But if we want to do this again, we believe that we need a special home set of weights, and that's what we're developing right now with one of our partners. So that we have for the second series, then they can have some more flexibility. So some of the feedback were, well, it was nice, but too many squats, too many push-ups, and yeah, there are not millions of workouts you can do without weights. But I think the biggest learning is communication is king.
Yeah, we have one question which is really very suitable here, and that's Thomas from Berlin. He is hi Thomas. He is head of WearIt Summit, which is all about wearable technology. So his question is obviously about wearable technology, and he's asking how could wearables be used in this context? Because you also counted repetitions, right? Was it sort of a wearable, or was that a computer vision technology? And is there any cases for wearables to use remotely?
It's a very good question. So we did not use wearables right now, and we don't use wearables in our event series. But I had the privilege to talk to Rainer Schaller yesterday. He's the founder of the RSG, the Rainer Schaller Group. He's the biggest fitness entrepreneur in Europe. He has more than 300 gyms, and he was telling me about latest technologies they're working on measuring with technology the right movements. And we are thinking in this topic, or we're working this topic as well. We did not use it, but I think there's a big future for wearables and for camera technology combined, so that we need judges not in an amount we need them now. So to come back to the HYROX Home Series of this year, everyone had to film him or herself, had to send in the video if they wanted to compete in the grand final, and then we had judges who compared the videos and said, well, no rep or no rep. So, in the live stream, they had to film themselves as well. And we had we had 3 women, 3 men. We had a judge for every participant, and it was live judging. But I think in future, to do stuff like this, wearables, there are unlimited possibilities.
Lars or Jody, what do you guys think about wearables?
I've spoken to, sorry Lars, I've spoken to a number of race organizers here in the UK who are friends from the kind of ecosystem and what we do, and they put on a large number of virtual races, and they believe that actually virtual races are something that they will keep on doing once this is sort of finished, and they do that through using wearable tech and the Strava app to actually record distances and times in a whole different range of formats. Some of the kind of ultra running groups are, how far can you run in a month? To actually other groups that's suggesting that a more kind of supportive approach of how quickly you can improve your time over a certain distance during a different period. And it's been interesting to see actually the uptake in that for paid for events, actually just to run virtually with a virtual kind of race number that you can print out and do on your own. I think it's something that would be interesting for runners to take forward, particularly people that can't travel during this period. But again, I still think that the endorphins, atmosphere, real-time connections of a race are going to transpond this crisis, because I'm a big racer. I love running races. I like the competition for sure. But the thing that trumps it is actually meeting new people from different places around the world. And so I think it won't be something that replaces it, but it will be something that will be alongside it, 100%.
Yeah, as you were talking about human connection, I was thinking if that would be a good point just to show what you guys do with Midnight Runners. So Lars, I will just kick you out for a second.
Sure.
Jody, you said that you're basically running physical events. Now you're starting to run engagement activities where people can, do things online and get some recommendations from you. And here's what you always do, like usually. Let us have a look.
That's what I'm talking about. Hey! Okay, now, from the beginning. And I'm out the door. The high life I've been waiting for. Got no name. Can I do again and again? Living the moment till I die. And I'm gonna change. And I'm running, baby. I know we can't be wrong. No matter how hard we try. And I'm gonna change. And I'm gonna change. I know we can't be wrong. No matter how hard we try. Fire in the veins and I fight the game. Breaking all the rules to keep me sane. New York's the greatest city ever, and they're gonna love us. Absolutely gonna love us in New York City.
Sorry, I couldn't watch that anymore because I get almost a nostalgic feeling. So guys, what do you think? How will the future look like for physical and online events? Will we see a combination of both, or where does this journey take us to?
Yeah, who shall start? Come on.
I think from our side, there are 100% aspects of what we've learned over the last sort of few weeks and months that we'll take forward with us. We'll definitely connect with our global community in similar ways by carrying on things like the Campfire series, workouts for the mind as well as the body. There are aspects of our training that I think we can share with a wider audience beyond people that can connect with physical Midnight Runners events in the cities in which we operate. But 100% we're looking to go back to physical events with real people. I think everyone here, and I don't want to speak for you, for Lars and Michael, but I think we kind of are in this business, we're in this industry because we enjoy bringing people together. And we enjoy, allowing people to train together, work out together, and build that connection through fitness and through, exercise and through sport. And so we are dying to get back to what we do. It's, why we do what we do. But it's been a great, lesson on how to kind of use technology to connect in the same time.
Lars, what do you think? So what would be the combination of technology and physical activities in the future, like with apps, wearables, real life tracking, live streaming? What sort of big picture do you see?
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly add one aspect to the wearables discussion, because for us, that's also a really relevant thing in the sense of, in our community, we have a lot of runners, or I guess they probably wouldn't even call themselves runners, but people entering sort of running through our events because they are part of a corporate team. And so we have found actually in working with a wearables partner that is a great way to actually get people in touch with that technology. And we have actually over 2 years had tests at our events with wearable technology, so people could actually see, what it does in action, and that's, driven sales, and that's been, really beneficial to both the technologies or the wearable partner as well as the people, who actually saw in action what it does. So I think that's just maybe one aspect I wanted to share. Yeah, I'm definitely.
I want to know that more of that. So you said that technology was driving sales for you.
For the wearables partner.
Could you tell us more about that? So what?
Yeah. So in particularly, we worked with Fitbit, and what they did actually is they had a rent place at our event, so you could just go there and you could just easily. They had hundreds of trackers, so you could just go there and they would explain the tracker to you, and you could actually test them during the event. Then you would go back, and they would do the analysis with you and show you what happened. And I think that's really the best environment for a wearables partner to show what the product actually does. And that's also, I think, if you look at marathons, for instance, a lot of these people are already very how should I say, brand loyal, and many people know what they want. But at our events, we had the positive experience with a wearable partner that a lot of people, they just simply don't know. They need guidance, and they're at a sort of early lifestyle or as a life cycle in their running career, and that was just a huge opportunity for the wearables partner to explain the product and to generate direct sales from that on the platform at B2Run.
Okay, what you're saying is that we can use sophisticated technology for those who are always, already into sports and doing that in a hardcore way. But for those who've been maybe, couch potatoes just a couple of months ago, integrating wearable technology and also having wearable technology sponsors might be a very good way to keep them moving and also, to have some physical and online integration, right?
Absolutely. And I think perhaps for those people also from a motivational perspective, that's even more important to work with a wearable.
Yeah, got you. So let's go back to the question, like how you guys see I would say like the next 2 to 3 years in physical event space, and how do you see the combination of physical, online, and tech activities in the future? Michael, would you like to add something to that?
Yeah, I would love to add something. I think what we all should do is to deconstruct our physical events into all their parts. That's what I learned from a friend of mine who's doing an event once a year, which is called Online Marketing Rockstars. He had to cancel it. He had it was yesterday. It was 70,000 people, and he had to. And he what he did was very clever. He deconstructed it into every aspect, and now he is rebuilding it. And he is using the content he usually is producing in 2 days to use it for the full year. He now is doing it in smaller events, some digital stuff. He's even using the whole food he already bought. Because he was buying a food truck now, which is standing in front of the office, and he's using the food for the next month. So he's really, he deconstructed it to reconstruct it. And I think all event players in the world have to deconstruct it now, and then to see how to integrate technology, how to be prepared for a next pandemic. I think Jody and Lars, they are in a very good position because they can downscale their events to I could imagine to do a midnight run with 10 people. Why not? And I could imagine to do B2B run thing with 10 people. Why not? So, and that's what we now have to do as well, as to how can we downscale our events. So I had the picture for my team. I said, well, if we can't come to a city, bring all our equipment and be there for 1 day with 3,000 participants and 12,000 spectators, how to behave like a circus. So we come for 10 days. We have an afternoon session, a night session with, let's say, just 150 or 200. And then how to see how you can combine it with technology. I think we can be more creative than in history. We have to be more creative. But as Jody said, well, we love to bring people together physically. And so, for us, it's to learn how to prepare us for the next pandemic and even do events even within a pandemic. I think this is the great goal.
I love this circus metaphor. Jody, how about yourself? You told me that you're going to start small, like 10 people events quite soon. Right? Tell me more about that. How do you see the future with smaller distributed events and technology integrated into them?
I totally agree with Michael about deconstructing what we do. At the moment, we utilize technology at the beginning of our virtual runs once a week. Our schedule hasn't changed. People are still doing Midnight Runners. Midnight Runners has been running every single Tuesday in London at 7:30 for 5 years. It's still running. We now just share the playlist and the workout beforehand on a Zoom call or on a Google Hangout where the whole of the community get together. And then they listen to the playlist, and at certain stops along the playlist, they work out with the exercises we've given them. So we've deconstructed an event which normally has 200 people right back to an individual event for themselves. As the pandemic and the social distancing rules relax, we'll then be able to combine that into groups of 5 people or 10 people as per government advice. And we can build things around people's ability. So we'll do Midnight Runners for 10 people based on their pace and how fast they run.
Around what? I didn't get this word.
Around their pace, around how fast they run, physically how fast they run. So we can still have 150 people doing a Midnight Runners event on a Tuesday night in London, but they'll be doing it in groups of 10 based around their ability and how fast they want to run. So it's still about bringing people together, but it's about bringing people together in a way that's safe, in a way that allows the rules and follows government advice. And we can continue to kind of deconstruct and then reconstruct our events based on the situation. I'd never, ever, ever thought I'd be an advocate for having a midnight run with 10 people. We always want as many people together as possible. But actually, potentially, this will throw up, new ideas about smaller scale events for people to get together in smaller towns or, smaller cities where you wouldn't necessarily get the same numbers as you would in somewhere like London or Berlin or Madrid. So I think, technology is already, providing that ability for us to do this. And, why can't we, expand that community, say, outside of the traditional communities we're in and host, a run on a Tuesday night, not just for people in London or Hong Kong or Sydney, but for the whole world, for anyone that wants to do a midnight run. And to have that same experience and that shared connection, if they are going through a different pandemic or a different period where there's a lockdown.
Yeah, I would like to add the question that we have from audience from Mark and address this question to Lars. That's a very good question, actually. So the question is, if there are physical events again soon, do you plan or expect losses in terms of participant numbers? And if yes, how much in percentage? And if we could switch to hybrid events to compensate for that? I mean, that's a very tricky question. Nobody knows for sure. But what's your feeling, Lars? What do you think?
It is indeed a tricky question. I really don't have an answer to that because I think the biggest problem with this crisis is ongoing uncertainty. We just don't know what's going to happen. Is there going to be a second spike? When is there going to be a vaccine? How is the when are there going to be sufficient tests and all those things? There are so many factors playing here into the game here. So I think ultimately we're all on the same page as Jody. I'm on the same page with Jody and Michael, I believe. We need to, and that's also what we're doing, we need to challenge our business model. And because we just don't know whether we can have our events I think this year we can check it off. That's a bad year, but next year we just don't know what's going to happen. Maybe we can have events and we need to adapt them in a certain way. We may not be able to have events for whatever reason. That's all very unclear. And I think what's important, or what we're doing right now, is we're actually trying to deliver a platform where companies can have their own corporate run event, technology supported and technology enabled. That's what we're working on for exactly the reason that Michael mentioned. We need to think in different ways, and we need to be very creative here. But in order to do that, we need to really pull apart the business, and we need to understand, well, what is it really that our clients seek? And for us, it's team building. It's special moments together. It's companies trying to promote the health of their employees. But
Right.
honestly, I couldn't answer the question. I think we would be, if I had to, if someone told me now next year we can have events and we take a hit of -20%, I would sign that check. I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, Michael, what do you think?
I think there's nothing to add. I think we don't know what will happen. We just have to be flexible. We have to think in different scenarios, different directions. We have to take into account that there will be no events starting from October for us, and we have to prepare ourselves for this situation. And I would sign off the same contract with less, 20% less. But I still hope that we will have events, but they will be different. How will they look? We're working on it. I can't tell you now.
Yeah, so that means that 20% less participants is sort of the best case scenario for you right now.
No, the best case scenario for us is to more than double, because we are a startup and we have to double every year. No, the best case scenario is we double. Yeah.
Okay, we have another question from Eleonora Mantovani. I guess she is from Italy. And the question is, if you guys have any suggestions for those who are just starting to build a community before the outbreak of COVID, which is really tricky. So how to create proximity without even having had the chance of having this personal contact before, because a community hasn't existed before. Jody, you look like you have something to say on that.
Well, I feel for you. Community is a very overused word nowadays, and I think they are hard to build. I think to manage a community and to grow one effectively, you need, good people. You need consistency. How to do it during this crisis? I really don't know the answer to that, because I think we're relying on our community a lot right now to kind of get through and to, survive and to thrive in this. To be able to build one during this crisis, I think you need to be careful. I would say that, COVID-19 and coronavirus isn't your purpose for building that crisis, because, you have to remember that this will pass. There will be a new day and things will go back to a new normal, as people are saying. But, potentially now this is an opportunity to lay the foundations of your community and pick your values. Pick, the kind of community you want to build, what your unique kind of aspects of that community are, and, test that out rather than maybe, trying to push things at the moment. Because we've certainly noticed that, yes, it's great to provide community workouts and social, aspects at the moment, but some people don't actually want that as well. And so, you need to meet that fine line between providing and not pushing. This is a tough time for many people, and we need to respect that. But good luck in building.
Oh, that doesn't sound optimistic. So, any other ideas from you guys? Michael,
maybe I add something. I think to start a community, or to start to build up a community or a movement, or however you will call it, you can do this within a crisis, before or after a crisis. I think it has nothing to do with external things. Look at something like Peloton, the new cycling community, which if he would have started it within COVID-19, it would have worked the same way he started it a couple of years ago. So it's something he had a clever insight. He said, well, there are cycling classes all around the world. People are willing to pay $30 for such a class. And then he had a look onto the best, which was Soul Cycle at this time, and said, well, how about bringing this into people's home? Because not everyone likes the smell of 30 people cycling in a room, but everyone likes the power, the music, the instructor, and the workout. And maybe they are willing to pay a monthly fee because they pay $30 an hour. And so he started this idea. I think he contacted 400 VC companies before he had the idea, oh wow, nobody will give me money, but maybe I do a crowdsourcing, because there are so many cyclists, indoor cyclists in the world who love to do so. The same with Strava. There's a need, there's a clever insight, and then you can start it from there. So our insight was there. Fitness is the biggest sport on the planet where people pay money. I mean, running is even bigger, but where people are willing to pay money. We have in Germany more than 11 million people who are members in gyms. We have 7 million who are members in football clubs. These 11 million people do not have a competition. There is, for the niche, there is bodybuilding, for another niche, there is CrossFit, but there was no such thing. We talk to people and say, well, what is fitness for you? Are you doing this just for fun? No, it's my sport. 50% of the people said, it's my sport, my sport. Say, well, 50% of the people say that's their sport. We need to create an event for them. And so we created the event. We invested a lot of our own money to create this event. And we did not think about building a community. We thought about doing a cool thing. And then what we learned from the first event was that 99% of the people said, well, I will come again next year if you do it. I will bring, 98% said, well, I bring friends and family. And then they created the community. We did not talk about community. I think it's the same with Midnight Runners. You don't start an idea like this with, I want to build a community. You started with, I have an insight, I have a clever idea. I think there are people who love to do running together in a more funny way, to interrupt them with workouts, to have music, to do it during night. And then there are people who follow this idea, and then you can start to talk about, to treat your people like a community.
That sounds good. That means just do it.
Have a good idea and a clever insight.
Marketing for Nike. Okay, we have one more question, which is I personally would not know how to answer, and it's from Efe. I think it's a he. He's asking, like, it's quite understandable with running events and stuff like that, and fitness, where you can easily compete. But how about ball sports like soccer? Like, is that possible to do that in a sort of a digital way at all? Any ideas on that? I told you it's a tricky question. Lars, what do you think? Like,
yeah, I mean, just spontaneously, there are a lot of platforms, I think, trying to answer that question. To be very honest with you, I'm not the biggest soccer or football fan, so I'm probably the wrong guy to answer the question. But I know that within our group at Infront, there are actually platforms that also, serve for communities to as a place to meet and get over the crisis and deliver some type of content and gamification and things like that, if that's the question. But I'm not an expert on that, sorry.
So I believe there is a chance, because soccer or football, as we call it, is one of the biggest sports in the world. They have their communities, they have their club structure, they have their whatever tournaments. But to create something combined with technology, where you can train your skills or something like this, where you can have an exchange of skills. If someone has a clever idea, a clever app, I think there's a huge chance, because there is already the football community, as there was the fitness community before. But we managed to create something which brings them together, which let them feel like a community. The typical gym user is coming with earphones, is doing the workout, and is leaving the gym. What we learned from our gym partners is, since we have HYROX, they do HYROX classes, they prepare together for an event. So there was a community, but it was not very much engaged, and now it is. And we could feel this when we were the first time at the FIBO, that there is a community power within the fitness industry, because they all are very nice to each other, whether they are a yoga girl or a huge bodybuilder. They treat them nicely, they're interested, they have respect for each other. But there was not such thing like a platform for community. And maybe the FitTech Summit is a platform, maybe HYROX is one, Midnight Runners definitely is one, and so on. And I think in every sport you can do so.
Yeah, so thinking platforms.
Yeah, platform is a good thing.
Okay. Guys, we're a little bit over time, but I would really love, if it's okay for the audience and for you, to ask one last question, which I just see here in the chat. Is it okay with you?
Sure.
So the question is concerning your business model, and it comes from Jan Möllendorf. How do you incentivize users to use your apps or during events, I guess, virtual events in the first run? So what's the incentive for them? How do you do that? I mean, that's a huge question, but like maybe just one most important thing that you think works.
It may sound arrogant, but we don't have to incentivize them because they are so self-motivated and they love to compete. They love to engage. And I think the biggest motive or the biggest incentivation is that they have a good feeling after using the product. And that's what we do.
Okay.
Agree with Michael there. Emotions. I think emotional connection to our community. Our community comes first, and the app is part of that. And people, like Michael says, are motivated, active, engaged, passionate people who want to connect, physically and then virtually after the event.
Yeah, I think the difference with us is that we sell to companies, so we are really very much a direct sales organization. But I think the best incentive we have learned throughout the years is to deliver great events and great experiences, and that's the best thing you can do to have a higher retention rate, and that's the best promotion.
So we always come back to the point, it's about a good product, it's about understanding what sort of need you're solving for your community and your target groups, and just stay in touch with them, communicate, don't let them forget you, sort of, if I can summarize that.
Absolutely.
All right. So guys, thank you so much for being with us, for answering all these sorts of questions. I know that was a lot. Thank you, community, for joining us and tuning in. I hope you've had a good coffee. My tea is empty, so I did have a good tea at least. We'll be back soon with more events, and you'll get informed about that. So if you guys have any questions in the meantime, just feel free to write me. Thank you, Chris. That's a huge clap for every one of us. I think that was a good start into the day, and let's keep connected. Thank you for joining us, and we'll hear from each other soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Natalia. Thanks all. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for the initiative.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Have a great day. Have a great day. It was so cool to have you with us.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye now.